Hi guys, hello, Cassie here. Hope you are well. Very excited to be here today to run this class on marketing by human design. So just while I wait for a few people to hop on, I just want to show you why I'm running this today. Now obviously if you've been on social media at all, you know how popular human design is. And if you're not familiar with human design, I know last time I did a similar program about a year ago. I sort of had a mixture of people who've got their human design charts and have had readings but don't really understand how to use it for their marketing and their business, and then I had some other people who said, I've never heard of it, I don't know what you're talking about. So let me just show you a typical human design chart. There we are, that's a typical chart. And here's the thing about human design. I want to show you this is a different version of the same thing with the energy centers, and we're going to be talking about both of those things today. So what I want to do today is to give you an introduction to how using your human design chart can help you to improve your marketing. So there are 6 different aspects I'm going to talk about. And the first thing I want to say about human design, you can get a free chart at I'll put the link in, actually I'll put it in the group earlier, but I'll put the link in again. It's probably the easiest thing rather than me doing it now. What you need is your date of birth, your place of birth and your time of birth. Now I have had people before have said they don't know what time they were born. You will need to know your date of birth. If you don't know what time you were born, you can use 12 o'clock noon, and just you'll get a feeling for whether the chart's right for you. So if you don't know your time of birth, use 12 o'clock. But what you'll enter in your details, you'll get your free chart, and then you'll start getting a lot of emails with a lot of information. And as you can see here on a typical human design chart, and guys, please jump in with questions at any time. I want this to be an interactive session, so just jump in with questions. As you can see from this, I'm trying to hold it so you can see, there we are. From the chart, there's numbers down the side. You've got what looks like a chakra system here in the middle. You've got arrows, you've got different names and numbers and all sorts of stuff on your chart. So the first thing I want to say to you about human design is that there is a lot of information, and people that study human design say that it takes 7 years to decondition. So human design isn't about changing who you are, it's about discovering who you are, and it's about becoming or not becoming, but removing those layers of us and those masks that sometimes we've used as coping mechanisms in life, and really being our authentic selves. And in terms of marketing, of course, that's so important, because we want to show up as our authentic selves, that our energy is completely behind what we're doing, and we're fully aligned with our soul purpose, but also fully aligned with our soulmate clients. And I didn't actually print the emotional chart, but when you look at the different vibrations that we can vibrate at, the emotional scale, when you're out of alignment with your natural being, if you like, your natural state, your natural energy, it actually brings your level of vibration down and makes it harder to do your marketing. It can bring a lot of resistance up. And you can imagine that when we're marketing, we want to market in flow, we want to market with our authentic selves, and we want to market in a way that feels very easy and joyous. And the way to do that is to be vibrating at the higher levels, which doesn't mean that you're going around being rah-rah about everything, but it means that you are being true to yourself. You're going to feel happy, you're going to feel fulfilled, you're going to feel empowered, and that's when your marketing becomes very easy and very joyous. And just want to share a couple of stories with you. As I say, please jump in. Do share in the comments who's here. I can see there are people watching. I can't see who you are, so just say hi in the comments so I know who's here, and feel free to ask any questions. I'd love to know as well why are you here today? What is it about human design and marketing that you are really curious about? What's the number one thing that you want to take away from this session today? So just share in the comments, because obviously the more I understand that, the more I can give you the information that you need or point you in the right direction. So I want to share a story about a lady who was a client of mine a year or maybe even 18 months ago now, who's very good at numbers. She's very financially literate, very, very good at details and numbers and systems and all of that thing. But she's in quite a creative business. Her business is around marketing and PR. So she had this sort of discord or what would you call it, sort of uneasiness within herself at quite a deep level, because on the one hand what she's very good at and what she enjoys is the details and the numbers and tweaking things, but on the other hand she's on the sort of external view from customers running quite a creative business, and there was a sort of a dissonance, I think that's the word I'm looking for, between these two different parts of herself. And what happened was, in my aligned marketing program, where I teach all of this in a lot more detail, we looked at her human design chart, and we could see from her human design chart that she got those creative elements there, but she's what's known as a specific generator, manifesting generator. And specific manifesting generators, and I'll explain this in a moment, are people that like numbers and details and tweaking, and they're very detailed, analytical types of people. So she could see from her chart that she had both of these aspects, and using human design we were able to help her to show up. And also human design I use a lot for messaging. So when you're looking at marketing, your messaging is so critical. The message you have about your business, your sort of umbrella message, your message in your posts, so critical. And the reason people find messaging so hard is because they're not in alignment with, with themselves, with their energy. But human design will help to inform you and show you where your natural strengths are. So human design, again, if I show you the chart, I do say hi in the comments, guys. I'd love to know who's here, who's watching. So when we look at human design, how does this help us with our marketing? So let me share so I want to share 6 different elements. Here's the good news. When you're using human design for marketing, I mean, you obviously can study it in a lot of detail. You can spend 7 years deconditioning and going back to your authentic self and clearing everything you need to clear. But in terms of marketing your business, we only need to look at the top line. So we're going to look at just some top line elements, and these are going to make a massive difference to your business. And the way that understanding human design has helped me in my business is that, again, I've worked with a number of coaches, I've been in a number of group programs, I'm very into personal development, and depending on who you work with, people are often saying you should be doing this, or this is what's worked for me, the marketing wisdom is this, and you end up, I've had this so much with clients as well, but I was in the same position, you end up with all of this information in your head, and it's all spinning around, and it can feel quite overwhelming, and it can get really confusing. Well, this person said I should do it like this, and this person said I should focus on this, but how do those things sit together? And then I can see people on social media doing things this way, and other people are saying you have to do a mailing list first, and then other people are saying, oh no, now you have to be on TikTok, and people, I can literally see people's heads exploding, with all this information, all this advice. And I used to be one of those people teaching strategies, and I used to teach the strategies that worked for me and worked for my clients. But with human design, what became really clear to me, which I always use in my business first, the things that I've learned before I teach them, before I share them and teach them, is that actually Your human design shows you your energetic blueprint. This is like your fingerprint. We all have a different blueprint. And yes, there are certain types in human design, but at the end of the day, and I talk about this a lot, you have to market to your strengths. And it's really interesting. I was with a client this morning, actually. We had an in-person session this morning. And one of the things at the end of the session, he said, you know, this strategy that we've put together, that you've come up with, it's doable, but it plays to my strengths, and I feel really confident and comfortable and excited about this strategy now because it plays to my strengths. So that's what human design does. It helps you to play to your strengths and understand at a very deep level what your strengths are. Last thing I want to say before I go into the 6 different aspects is that quite often we know intuitively what these strengths and natural talents are, but we hide them. We suppress them. Again, this can be going back to childhood, where people say, don't be so loud, don't be so bossy, don't do this, don't do that. And so we change ourselves to try and fit in. We try and conform to what we think society wants, what we think business owners should be like, what we think people should do on social media. And that's being human. It's what we do, is we conform and we try and fit in. And of course, marketing wise, we don't want to conform and fit in. We want to be ourselves, and we want to market from our strengths. Hi Mariah. Oh, I love this. Let's have a look. Messaging. Yeah, messaging. We're going to talk about messaging. Curious about soulmate clients. Generator 6-2 sacral. Fantastic. Okay, interesting. Thank you for sharing that, Mariah. That's really interesting. I will I'm not sure if that's a question, but let me jump in and carry on, and if there's a question you're asking, I will address that. So here's your human design chart. So you type in your date of birth, time of birth, place of birth, you get your chart, it looks like that, and then you think, okay, what do I do now? What does it all mean? How does it help me? So in human design, there are 5 different types. So let's start with the top level. So you can see up here, this profile is a manifesting generator. So there's 5 different types in human design. And if you want to think about it in a broad sense, this is a bit like, this is the very top line you're talking about. This is almost like, I don't want to say star sign because that's not right, but human design is a mixture of astrology, I Chi, chakras, lots of different philosophies, if you like, all brought together. So there's 5 different types in human design. We've got manifestors, generators, manifesting generators, projectors and reflectors. Now those last 2 are relatively rare. The other 3 are, well, actually manifestors are quite less common. So I'm not going to go through everything about everything. I've got a video, an intro video, which I did put in the group. I can share in the group again about the basics behind these. I've given you some examples of famous people who are these different types, and also some ways to test your marketing. But understanding what your type is the first step to really understanding yourself and how to market more authentically. And so, for example, with generators and manifesting generators, we are, and I'm a manifesting generator myself, we are the worker bees. And that sounds a little bit derogatory, but what it means energetically is that generators and manifesting generators have Duracell batteries, tend to have a lot of energy. So when you meet a manifesting generator, you'll probably know, because manifesting generators are people that are doing lots of things, and you've probably heard entrepreneurs being described as multi-passionate. And again, this is something where when I first started out online business about 12 years ago, everybody said you have to have a niche, you have to have a niche, you have to have a niche, you've got to pick one thing, you've got to be good at one thing. And I really struggled with that until I saw Marie Forleo talk about you don't have to have a niche, you can, you know, and she was saying how she's multi-passionate. So I don't know what her human design type is, but I wouldn't be surprised if she's a manifesting generator. I don't know. But if you think about the amount of energy you have, and if you were at my Step Into Your Personal Power class a week ago, and if you haven't seen it, it was amazing, so definitely go and watch the replay. I talked about personal power and how we use the amount of energy we have. So if you're a generator or a manifesting generator in human design, so we are the Duracell bunnies of the world, able to work, able to juggle lots of things, lots of energy, go, go, go. And actually you can almost take it, you can almost take that too far. And I find quite often I have so many ideas and so many downloads, I can't cope with actioning everything. And then you've got the question of how do I prioritize? So a lot of ideas, a lot of creativity, a lot of energy. So if you're a manifesting generator or generator, you can probably relate to that. Here's the difference between those two. Manifesting generators, our energy is optimized when we are working on multiple things. So the worst thing you can do as a manifesting generator is to try and just do one thing, because we get bored. Our energy comes from doing lots of things, being creative, being allowed to express ourselves. And I find when I work, I'm often working on 2 or 3 things at the same time. And that's what energizes me. If I have to do one thing, it destroys my soul. So again, when you know that about yourself, when you're working on your marketing, the way that I do it marketing wise is I might be writing a post and doing a video, and so they might be things that are related, but it means creatively, is that a word? You're not boxing yourself, you're not constricting yourself. We need to feel very expansive as manifesting generators. Generators have a lot of energy too, but the difference is generators, they work best when they focus their energy on one thing at a time. So completely the opposite to the manifesting generator. That's the biggest difference between the two, really. So generators need to focus on one thing at a time. So not to say they can't do multiple things, but it will drain their energy in the same way that manifesting generators, see, I feel like my soul's being sucked out of me if I have to focus on one thing. It just destroys me. So and now I know that about myself, I can give myself permission to do the different things I want. Can you get down? Got the dog looking for squirrels. So with manifestors are a rarer breed, but manifestors can literally go out marketing wise and sell their shizzle and initiate. So when you look at people who are launching a lot, finding it very easy, they've got lots of energy, but they're just going out there, they're initiating, they're creating programs and services and getting a very direct response. That is typical of a manifestor. So I think we'd all like to be a manifestor, but I can't remember the percentage, but a smaller percentage of people are manifestors. So if you're a manifestor, your marketing is relatively straightforward, because if you've got the confidence and the clarity, you know what you're doing, just put yourself out there, boom, you're done. Whereas with generators, manifesting generators in human design, we need to respond. So what does that mean, to need to respond? What it means is, rather than initiating, we need to put feelers out for different ideas, different things, and then respond when we get the positive signal. So let me give you an example, and I shared this in the video. If you think about Walker's Crisps at Christmas, so here in the UK, Walker's Crisps is a really famous brand of crisps, potato chips, so you might call them in the States. And what they do at Christmas is they trial different flavours of crisps. So we've had Brussels sprouts crisps, we've had crisps for people that don't like Brussels sprouts, we've had Prosecco crisps that are sort of bubbly. And what they do is every Christmas they'll trial 3 or 4 different flavours of crisps. Now there's 2 reasons they do that. One is because they want to it's a bit of fun at Christmas, and it's a way to get people to buy more crisps. But also what they're doing is they're testing the market. So if you're a manifesting generator or a generator, it's that type of approach you need to take with your marketing, where you are putting out teasers, feelers, if you like, into the market, and you're seeing what people are responding to, and then you're going to take action. So if you're a manifester and you're going to launch a type of crisp, you just launch it. If you're a generator, a manifesting generator, you're going to be doing the different flavour crisps, potato chips if you like, and then responding when you get the signals back. And what's interesting about being a manifesting generator is when you tune into it, when you get really familiar with what it means to be a manifesting generator, there are certain questions you can ask yourself, and I have certain questions I ask myself every day as part of my morning routine. So I know what I'm looking for in terms of signals to respond to. So I hope that's helpful. For the other two types, projectors and reflectors, projectors are people who, they energetically, the world can be quite tough for them because they absorb other people's energy, and also they don't have a way to replenish their energy. So with the manifesting generators and the generators, it's like we've got a solar panel on our head and we're charging up our batteries as we go through the day. But projectors can't do that. Projectors have a certain amount of energy, and when it's gone, it's gone. So projectors are quite often people that need to go and have a nap in the afternoon, or they'll go to bed early, or they're just people that sleep a lot but are always tired because they don't have a way to recharge their batteries in the same way that the other human design types do. So if you're a projector, you also have a lot of wisdom, but you need to be invited to share that wisdom. So what can happen marketing wise is you don't ever want to be, if you're a projector, you don't ever want to be marketing in a way where you're lecturing to people. So what you do is you build your brand. It's a lot of brand building when you're a projector, and you build the brand until you're recognized, and then people will come to you, and from that position. So if you know the difference between lighthouses and influencers, lighthouses are people who are broadcasting out to sort of quite a wide audience. Works brilliantly for manifesting generators and generators because we've got that energy to keep the momentum and that consistency of showing up. If you're a projector, that would absolutely exhaust you. You wouldn't be able to show up consistently because your energy would just be drained by trying to market yourself in that way. So projectors are very much more, in terms of marketing themselves, going to be marketing in smaller groups or one-to-one, more behind the scenes, quieter type of marketing, if that makes sense. And then reflectors are very, very rare. So I don't know, I think I've only come across a couple of reflectors in all the time I've been using human design, which is about 2 or 3 years now. And reflectors, literally, as it say, all their energy centers are open and they're reflecting what they see in the world. So again, very, very wise, very, very, a lot to share, really powerful people, actually, reflectors, but very, very different energetically to the other types. So let me just see, are there any? Oh, here's Maria. Hi, Maria. Hi, Mandy. Mandy says, I've always struggled with niching too. So are you a manifesting generator, Mandy? Because if you are, Mariah's saying that's so confirming. Just spent 6 months writing, publishing, but now feel emptied. Yeah, and that's what happens is you can just get drained. So yeah, Mandy, are you a manifesting generator? Do you know what your type is? So I'll share the video in the group, but that gives you, that gives you a lot of information. Actually, it's this. I can't do it backwards. This one up here, just in itself, just knowing your type is really helpful marketing wise. So the next thing I want to talk about is your inner authority, and which is on the right hand side. Inner authority. Now, this one here, it says sacral. So there's 3 different main authorities in human design, and authority means how you operate in the world and your decision making process, if you like. So there are 2 main ones. There's sacral and emotional. So if you look on your human design chart and have a look at your inner authority, there is splenic too, which is, some people are splenic authority, but the two most common are sacral and emotional. And what that means is, if you are a manifesting generator with a sacral inner authority, it means that you are able to make decisions in a very, it's very black and white, it's binary, and it's very much about feeling. So if you're a manifesting generator, it's really worth doing some work to understand. Again, if you missed my step into your personal power, definitely watch that replay, because that will help you understand this better. But it's very much about understanding where you're feeling your power and being empowered physically in your body. So as a manifesting generator, your sacral is where it's all happening. The sacral is sort of where your navel is. And that's the center in your body for sexuality, creativity, very feminine. It's a very feminine energy, if you like. And of course, that's where your womb is if you're a woman. And so again, creation. And what's interesting is usually when I do these trainings, I like to do them standing up. And that's because again, as a manifesting generator with the sacral authority, it's really good to be free in that area. I don't like to be constricted, and actually I don't like sitting down to do these lives, but I ordered a new ring light and I can't get it the way I want to be able to stand up at the moment, so I'm gonna have to get another one. So that's why I'm sitting down today. But it's not ideal for me because I prefer to stand, and also because as you're a manifesting generator, your sacral, you need energy to be flowing. So that's why if you're a manifesting generator and you're doing a lot of sitting down at your desk, and I was talking to a lady yesterday, and we're both sacral manifesting generators, and she said, I've just been sitting down at my desk working with clients. I feel a bit not lethargic, but a little bit stagnant maybe. And we just talked about the fact she needed to get up and move and go for a walk or dance or jump on a trampoline or do something physical to get the energy flowing in the sacral. And that's why I like standing up when I do these trainings. So if you're feeling a little bit you're just having one of those days, or you just need a bit of an energy pickup, if you want to increase your personal power before you do your marketing, for example, and you've got sacral authority, get up and move around. Put your favorite disco song on and dance around the living room, or do some exercise, take the dog out, do some, yoga, do something to get the energy flowing in your sacral. If you're an emotional authority, completely different. We're not talking anything physical now. We're talking about riding the waves of emotion. So where I use this most is with clients that are launching programs. So when you're launching, you can make decisions using your sacral. But if you're an emotional authority, you actually need to give yourself time to process the emotions. So you need to give yourself, it can even be a couple of days. So with a sacral authority, you can do binary yes or no, very quick decisions for your marketing. With emotional, you have to ride that wave, and it can take 2 or 3 days. And I know I was in a relationship with somebody with an emotional authority, and it used to really frustrate me because we would be talking about doing certain things, and I'd be sort of like, I've made the decision, I'm ready to go. And I could never understand why he was always 3 paces behind me. And it's because he was an emotional authority, and he needed to sleep on it. He needed to feel into it. He needed to process it in his own way. And then he would come to his, make his decision. So again, if you're doing marketing, you've got to keep in mind that not only for yourself, but for your clients are either going to be making those binary decisions, or they're going to need to, go through that emotional process. So really, really important to sort of to understand that. Now, I'm not going to talk a lot about this, but if you look up here, you can see it says profile, and this one's a 2-4. So profile is really interesting, and so I don't want this to go on forever, so I'm not going to say too much, but the profile 2-4 actually corresponds to the numbers at the top so you can see what the numbers there and the numbers on the other side of your chart. And these are how you show up in the world is one part of your profile, and then the other one is how you see yourself sort of internally. So it's like an external view of you and how you show up in the world, and there's the internal. And what's interesting is you can look at the numbers separately. So with a 2-4, you can say, right, I've got a 2 profile, which is the hermit profile, which is a very much I need to spend time on my own to process and to charge the batteries up. And then the 4 profile is a very social profile of connection and opportunity and being out there. So the 2-4 is a little bit like being introvert and extrovert at the same time, and understanding and giving yourself permission that that's how you operate. You need that alone time, but you also need that social time. So it can almost feel like a bit of a conflict. And when you put those numbers together, so a 2 is a hermit, a 4 is it's called opportunistic, but it's the sort of the social connector. It's a very good profile for doing social media. So if you've got a 2-4, social media should be quite a natural place for you. But when you put the numbers together, that's what really gives you your energetic blueprint, if you like. So have a look at your numbers and see what you've got, what numbers you are, and then how they fit together, and then how that fits with your overall energetic blueprint. I hope that makes sense. Right, so the last thing I want to cover is, or second to last thing, I want to talk about energy centers. So here's the human design chart again. So you can see here, this is where you can see this sort of equates to a human body, and very similar to the chakra system. So you've got energy centers here. Now what you'll notice about this chart, some of these energy centers are colors, they're solid colours. So I'm trying to do this backwards, that's why my fingers going everywhere. Some of them are solid, and that means that those energy centres are defined. Some of them are empty. You see these white ones, so they're called undefined. What does that have to do with marketing? Everything. And this is something I go into a lot more in the aligned marketing program. We actually go through every single energy center, what it means if it's defined, what it means if it's undefined, and how you can use that. And then if you look closely in the energy center, you can see there are numbers which are called gates, and then we've got lines between them, and they're called channels. And this, to say, this is like your fingerprint. So the energy centers that are defined are your strengths, as your energetic strength. So for example, on this chart, this person has a defined throat chakra, energy center, sorry, defined third eye, and a defined crown. So what does that mean when you put those three things together? What's interesting is, if you look, they're not actually together. The third eye, sorry, the head at the top here, the yellow triangle at the top, there's no channel connecting that to the throat. But having the third eye and the head energy center as defined on the throat means that this person is very good at taking complicated concepts and simplifying them. So taking quite complicated things and being able to simplify them. Now if there was a channel between these two, the head and the third eye and the throat chakra, then this person would be even stronger, even better at taking these complicated concepts, simplifying them, and then sharing them in the spoken word, if that makes sense. So you can see how you can use this. But this person has got a very defined throat center, which is the energy center for communication. So verbal communication, obviously, but also written communication. So again, very good for social media, podcasting. So using your defined centers, you can easily see where your strengths might be. And so some of this is intuitively, but sometimes because in life we've learned to cope with different situations, and we try and conform and fit in with what we think society wants us to be like, or how we think we should be. Sometimes we've lost sight of this, so this is taking us back to our authentic self and how we should show up in the world. Now for example, just to go the other side of the scale, this down at the bottom here is the root energy center, so equivalent to the root chakra, if you're familiar with the chakra system. And the root is all about, it's about money, security, safety, but also sort of processes and systems. So this person has got an undefined root center. So this person is not going to be teaching things like processes and spreadsheets, for example. And I've got an undefined root center, and you will never see me talking about systems or structures, those sort of foundational things. I'm much more in the creative area, and again taking complicated concepts and simplifying them, and taking something like social media where you've got all these different options and actually helping people find what is going to be the best thing for them. So there's lots of different ways you can use these energy centers, particularly when we're looking at marketing. As I say, we also want to look at the gates, which is where the numbers are, and then the channels that link these together. So, you know, I gave you an example about the throat and the crown. So you can see there's a lot you can take from this, but it's really, really powerful. So let's just see if there's any more questions. Mo says, oh, I'm in the car. Hi, Mo. Yes, you can. So Mandy says, I'm a generator. I love working on lots of different things, possibly manifesting generator. Yeah, so download your chart, Mandy. I'll put the link in the group again. It's jovianarchive.com get chart, I think, but I'll put it in the group. Yeah, have a look, and you can let me know if you've got any questions. So the last thing there's two more things I want to share with you before we wrap up. And is this useful, guys? Are you finding this useful? When you look at the chart, you'll see there are some arrows around the head. You've got arrows here and arrows here, and these are really interesting. These are about things like diet, environment. So you can also see the type of environment that's going to be most energizing for you. So for some people, that's going to be being outside in nature. Other people, it might be being up a mountain, or being you know, in a nice warm place. And it might sound like a bit of an irrelevant thing, but just it's another piece of the puzzle of being really authentic, being in the place that best suits you, and also being in a place that's going to energize you. But what I wanted to mention, this arrow, which is this one by the bottom right one, is either pointing left or pointing right. And this is your indicator of whether you're a specific or a non-specific. And what that means is this has made such a massive difference to my business, just understanding this one arrow. Because I used to, when I used to, you know, be in coaching programs and work with coaches and have mentors, a lot of my mentors said, you know, you have to talk about helping people make a specific amount of money. You have to give people a specific result. You know, if you're going to be successful in your marketing, you have to be specific about what people are going to get, how much money they're going to make, how long it's going to take. And you know, you see those on Facebook, don't you? Those, or you see that in marketing, get 5k months in 30 days without da 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 da. You know, that sort of marketing, just a bit old hat marketing, but you know what I mean. We've all seen it. And I tried for a long time to market in that way. So I thought, and I was so uncomfortable with it. But I trusted the people I worked with. I'd paid them good money. They were making good money. They were really successful. And so I trusted them. And I thought, okay, that's what I'm missing. That's the missing piece. And this is where we don't trust ourselves. You think, you know, if you're not getting the results you want, there's a piece missing. And you think, okay, this person's really successful. They're going to give me this missing piece. And I tried for a long time to market in that way. And it just didn't. I did get clients, but it never quite sat right with me. And here's the thing, if you're a specific in human design, if the arrow is facing to the left, then that type of marketing works really well. That being very specific, being detailed, being very analytical, talking actual numbers, actual times, you know, very people that like those sort of fine details. But the other 50% of us are what's called non-specific. And what's really, and this is what completely changed my marketing, my business. If you're non-specific, then you are not focused on the details, the numbers. You're focused on how the results make you feel. So that was such a massive, massive game changer for me. So what that meant was, rather than saying you're going to make 5k in 30 days, you're going to have 5 clients in 2 days, or whatever it was, you know, those sort of claims. It's about the feeling behind that, and how people are going to feel, and feeling empowered. So some people think that, you know, you don't want to feel like you're being wishy-washy, but you've got to be true to your type. So again, that's something I teach in the Aligned Marketing Program, is how you market to those 2 different types, specific and non-specific. And what I haven't mentioned, oh my gosh, I can't believe I've been talking for 40 minutes and I haven't mentioned the super useful marketing grid, which is what some of my alignment marketing clients called it. What I've done is I've actually created a grid of just about every marketing strategy that you can think of, and I've mapped it against the different human design types. And there's nuances in there too, because it's not to say you can't do selling from a live stream if you haven't got a defined throat center, or if you're not a manifesting generator. But there are different ways to do it. There's different approaches. And remember, we talked about whether you can initiate, whether you need to respond. There are different strategies. So you can use the same strategy, but the way you use it will be different depending on your type, and depending on whether you've got defined or undefined centers. So I hope that makes sense. So what I did, I basically took all of this concept that we're talking about, and I've put it into a grid, an Excel spreadsheet, and I've mapped out this grid. In fact, quite a few of my aligned marketing people said this was, you know, absolutely invaluable, because it just means when you know your type and you've got your chart, you can actually just read down, you can find all the strategies and how to use them for you. So yeah, I need to talk more about that, because it's a really useful thing. Last thing I want to mention, see if there's any more questions. If you look here on your chart, here, it says not self-theme. So there's a category that says not self-theme. This is a brilliant way for you to know if you're out of alignment. Now, you probably will know if you're out of alignment, because your marketing won't be working. So you'll be doing all the things, but you won't be getting the results. Or you'll just feel out of sorts. You know, people say, oh, I feel a bit out of sorts. That's because you're out of alignment. If your things aren't working, you're out of alignment. If you're a manifesting generator and you're out of alignment, you will feel frustrated. You will feel that driving with the brake on. You will feel that the word is frustration. And what happens is, if you're out of alignment and you don't get back into alignment, and you get more and more out of alignment, it's like someone that's on ice skating, their legs get further and further and further apart. Is the universe will just keep piling on the frustration until you literally can't stand it anymore. You know, you won't be sleeping, you'll be complaining, everything. And also in your external world, things will start to fall apart. You know, things will break, or you'll have an accident and stuff will happen. And that's sort of like, that's really, when you get to that stage, you know, you're way out of alignment, and you've been ignoring the signs to get you back in alignment. So understanding what your non-self theme is really important, because we obviously want to nip that in the bud and get you back in alignment before you get to the everything falling apart scenario. For example, with projectors, their not self theme is bitterness. So when projectors are out of alignment, they don't get frustrated, they get bitter, they get nasty. And I don't mean that in a judgmental way, but it's just, you know, and I'm not a projector, but I know people who are, and it's just that bitterness at the world, that sort of, you can sort of sense it in somebody, can't you? And again, that's their sign for a projector that they're out of alignment. And also remember, projectors can't generate their own energy. They can't charge the batteries up very easily. They have to rest a lot. They don't have the same energy that us manifesting generators and generators have. And so they'll get bitter, and they'll get a bit, and that's, if you're a projector, you need to know that about yourself, because what you don't want to be doing, you don't want to be marketing when you feel frustrated, bitter, and you know, sometimes we talk about falling out of love with our business. That's when we're out of alignment with ourselves, within ourselves, and then you fall out of love with your business. So Paula says, hi Paula, no problem. So funny, I came on just as you were talking about my manifesting genuine frustration, realizing it's being a big breakthrough. Yeah, that's the thing. Any one of these things, I've talked about 6 different things, any one of these things can be a massive breakthrough for you personally, but how that affects your energy, which then of course affects your marketing. So I hope that's been helpful. Any other questions on your human, have you got your human design chart and you've got any questions or on using it for marketing? As you can see, it's so important. I've only talked about 6 different elements, so you don't need to worry about all the rest of human design. So the Align Marketing program I'm really excited to share is I'm starting the next live round on the 2nd of November. Human design is not the whole program, but it's quite a key tool that we use in the program. So Align Marketing is it's a 6-week guided energy marketing and client attraction program. So it's about marketing authentically, attracting your soulmate clients, and being and staying in alignment with who you are, with your soul purpose, and with those soulmate clients, and operating in that flow state. So one of the first things we do in Align Marketing is I teach you how to get into the flow state, how to get into alignment and stay in alignment, how to work at those high levels of vibration. And then we talk about strategy and branding and selling and promoting and content. We do a content plan, but it's a conscious content plan. It's creating content intentionally rather than, you know, that sort of very left brain. I also teach you about balancing masculine and feminine energy, because we need both. We need the feminine energy for desire and creativity, and then we need the masculine energy for momentum and action and getting stuff done. So if one of those pieces are missing, again, you'll end up, things won't be happening in your business, you won't be getting results. So we need both of those things, and we need them to be working in harmony. I also do energy activations to help with some of the things like balancing the energies, and we do clearing, because part of being in alignment is keeping your energy clear. So it's understanding your energy, your energetic blueprint, which is what we're using human design for, but it's also understanding when you're out of alignment, how do you get back, where and if you're out of alignment, there's lots, as you can see, even if just with one tool that we're looking at, there's lots of moving parts. What's pushing you out of alignment? Is it an unresolved emotion from years ago? Is it something in your current situation? Is it the way that you're using your energy? Are you out of alignment based on your human design? There's so many different moving pieces. So I teach you how to understand that, how to get back into alignment, how to work authentically. Because when you're working authentically, you're attracting clients. You become very magnetic to your soulmate clients. And just to give you a few examples before we wrap up, clients in the Align Marketing program previously, and I'll share some testimonials and videos, but as soon as we've worked on some of these things, they instantly get clients. I've had people get 3 new clients, 5 clients, 7 clients, 11 clients. It always happens just after our weekly calls, because we're raising the energy, we're clearing those blocks, and that's when the clients come in. So it's quite easy during the program, and then I teach you the tools so that you can keep that momentum and that energy clearing, that alignment going, you know, after the program as well. So if you'd like to join me, we start on the 2nd of November. There's only 10 places. I've actually filled one place that's already gone, but I'm only going to have 10 people in the class to keep it really small. So there's only 9 spaces left. So Maria says she's going to look at her chart. Mandy says, I'm off to check my type. Several points of this live will really give me some insight. Fantastic. Insight sharing is what I love to do. Paula's going to catch the replay. That's fantastic. Guys, thank you so much to those of you who've been here live. Thanks for your comments and participating. I really, really enjoyed it. Hope you found it helpful. Been a bit longer than I expected, but I do like to share. There's lots of information. As I say, if you'd like to join Aligned Marketing, our next live round starts on the 2nd of November. There's an early bird at the moment, and I would love to work with you and show you how to use some of these tools in more detail, and also put together a plan that's going to work for you to attract more clients and sales into your business. So have a great rest of the day. Have a great weekend. Thanks for being here. And if you're watching on replay and you've got questions, you can just type them in the comment and tag me, and I'll answer them. Take care, guys. I will speak to you soon. Bye then.